All right, how's everybody doing? We are live. Thanks to everybody for joining us. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can certainly throw them into the chat. We will get to them at the end. Our main focus for this webinar is fall programs, our fall junior tennis, our fall performance. Registration is now open for all of them, and we are starting our programs next week. My name is Ari Zuckerman, Vice President at Centercourt Tennis Academy. With that, I'm going to throw it over to Coach Conrad Singh, our CEO of Tennis Operations. And yeah, let's get going, Conrad.
Thanks a lot, Ari. Appreciate being here. Great to be here with the rest of the team. Our objective today is to answer questions if you have them. So as Ari said, please pop them into the chat and we will get around to them. But first and foremost, welcome everyone. We're really excited for the fall programs. It's been a really great summer, a busy summer. It was an absolutely awesome winter, spring season. And we're getting so many great results. Players are doing extremely well. We're really excited to roll out the plans for fall with our newly improved programs with some amazing value adding. What we want to do today is we don't want to keep everyone too long. So we're going to cover this in two parts. The first part, we'll look at our junior development program, which is our Rogi program, red, orange, green, and yellow. And our director of the JDP programs, Coach Shihab, will be here joining us, as well as our head of strength and conditioning, guru, Tim Clifford. So we want to go into it immediately if we can. Shihab, if you could give us a snapshot of the fall this year, how we're looking at each of the three levels, and our philosophy at that level, and what you're really looking at for the players to gain out of the program.
Hi, everybody. Coach Shihab here, Director of JDP Program. As usual, our goal is to have a lot of fun, develop players, give them a pathway for next level. Our programs are red ball, orange ball, green ball, and yellow ball. Red ball has three programs, Centercourt 1, Centercourt 2, and Red Ball Edge. Red ball starts at 3, 3.5, all the way to 8.5. Depending on the skill set players, our goal for red ball is to really inject the love for the sport, have a lot of fun, social aspect of it, kids play with kids. Centercourt 2 is somewhat, but they learn the rallies, a little serve, a little points play. Red Ball Edge is a performance level of red ball where players learn to hit top spin, direction control. They also play live points. For those players, we also have something called Red Ball Play Day. We organize in-house, organized and monitored by our own coaches. The players come in, they come in for an hour, hour and a half. They play points with live players, and they have a little bit treat at the end. We give them gifts. That's how we do the red ball. Then we're gonna go, players move up to orange ball. Also, we have three different programs, Centercourt 3, Centercourt 4, newly named is Orange Ball Select, and Orange Ball Edge. Centercourt 3 is 8.5 to 10.5. Players join in beginner level. They work on fundamentals, grips, stance, a little bit of swing pattern. Player learn to hit, player learn to do a little bit of overhand serve with the proper grip. We use 60-foot court for orange ball. Players move up to Centercourt 4 or Orange Ball Select. That's a 90-minute class, and that's a mid-range. Players are pretty much evaluated as, hey, can you do 20 rallies on both sides? Can you serve over the net with proper grip and stance? 50%. Players also, we encourage them to do a live points. We actually, those players kind of getting into that more performance level, and then move up to Orange Ball Edge, which is our 2-hour class. It's a performance driven, almost following the performance pathway and our philosophy of Centercourt tennis, which we bring the bridge to green ball. Players train, they compete in our box league, they compete in our USTA youth orange ball progression. We have a lot of success in our Orange Ball Edge program. Players are locked in, they train very hard, they take privates, it's mandatory for those players. Then we kind of bridge it to either Centercourt Green Ball Select or green ball edge. Green ball select age, again, mid-range players are almost in the performance. They're still working on areas. Green ball edge is where the actual bridge for performance, orange ball, green ball to the performance. They get into bronze, silver, so on and so forth. They train 2.5 hours, 2 hours on court, 30 minutes fitness mandatory, plus 1 hour private. It's really the pathway we develop those skills, players, athletes to perform in a higher level. That's about our JDP program for Chatham.
Very good. Thank you, Shihab. Coach Tim, if you could elaborate for us at this level, obviously it's a broad age band, but what are the fundamentals and what are the objectives of the physical training program that the players must do as a part of the overall program?
For the JDP? Yes. Yeah, for the JDP program, most of what we're doing is basically what's called brain-body connection. We're just attempting to get the kids to create the neural pathways of their brain and their body kind of working together. Those of you who are out there who have kids that are in that JDP range, that they can sometimes be a bit uncoordinated. So we just do skills and drills that are based around just making those connections, whether it's going to be on the resistance side, doing some light band work, some body weight work. On the footwork and agility side, we're just doing basic footwork drills just to basically teach them and reinforce what the tennis coaches are doing in terms of where our feet are supposed to be in relationship to our body. The fancy term is called kinesthetic awareness. So just a bunch of very light, easy, fun drills that kids enjoy. That's just going to reinforce all of the work that Coach Shihab and his coaches are trying to do on the court.
Terrific. Thanks a lot, Tim. If I can just quickly ask one quick question, Tim. You mentioned the words coordination. Okay, we all know that players, coordination is the backbone of their tennis capacity when we're talking about competing and going to higher levels. A lot of parents are really focused on ball striking, and obviously that hand-eye coordination has been spoken about a lot. But could you elaborate a little bit more on what you mean on coordination other than hand-eye coordination?
Oh yeah, so when I was speaking about coordination, I mean more like body coordination as opposed to hand-eye. We do hand-eye coordination stuff with that age group, but obviously tennis is an eye-to-hand sport, so they get a ton of it when they're on court. And seeing the programs go on, I know that they do a lot of hand-eye coordination as part of their drills when they're on court. So when I say coordination, I just mean more body coordination. And again, it's that brain body connection in terms of understanding, like the easiest example is, if we're doing like a light band warm up with like ankle bands, kids in this age group, when I tell them to keep their feet straight, like in this position here, the minute we start the drill, their feet go like this. So they're not really connected yet in understanding and feeling their bodies. And where each body part is at any given time. So we're doing drills that again are going to be, and coaching at the same time, whereas like our feet are supposed to be like this, we try to maintain that. As soon as they go like this, we're getting cued back into that straight. So it's very repetitive, coordination, balance, tennis, like anything like that. It's a skills driven thing that they need to repeat. And it's that repetition that eventually makes those connections, makes the neural pathways that the kids are able to then repeat that. And it would and should transfer onto the court.
Awesome. Thank you so much. What I'd like to, if I can just overlay some information for that. So part of the Centercourt philosophy is the umbrella that we have over our programs really means that we want the kids to be involved in 4 key areas. One of them is the clinics or the program, as you call it, the after school program. The second part is that we strongly encourage each player to be undertaking private lessons weekly. And if that's a challenge, we can always help to set you up with another kid to share a semi-private. Coach Shihab, myself, we can help with that at the various levels. So private lessons are essential. The third part that we really strongly encourage is practice. Now, I know it's an old comment and something that's been around forever, but you really can't become a tennis player without quality practice. Practice meaning outside of being instructed. And the volume of ball strike that can happen in a self-practice is very important. So for that, we have at Centercourt our membership. And our membership is based on either a full family situation, or we also have individual memberships. If the rest of the family don't play and it's just one child who does, we strongly recommend looking at becoming a member of the club. The access of the courts, the special events we have, the special benefits that you get are really helpful, and they certainly do help us to see those players fast track even more. The fourth and most, I think, the backbone of development for tennis is competition. So we have several opportunities to compete. Ari Zuckerman, our Vice President of the Sports Academy, he's also in charge of all of our events and competitions. And I can tell you the range of competitions that we have internally, from USTA, UTR, play dates, match play, special events, is just huge. So anyone that needs help with that or support with that, to find their way, I'm always available. And again, Coach Shihab, myself, we're always happy to speak to parents and help with that. So I'll just repeat that really fast. The 4 key areas. First, the private lessons. We strongly suggest, if you're serious about it, you have a private. Second are the clinics, or the program, as we call it. Third is self-practice, for which you need access to courts. And to do that, you need to be a member. And finally is the competitive opportunities that we have at Centercourt. So we're really happy to have all of those in one spot, easily accessible. And again, we're always happy to help anyone that needs any information on that. So if I can, at this time, I'd like to shift up now. So we're going to go to the performance program. And obviously the after-school performance program that we talk about is directed by Coach Adrian Contreras, who I think everyone knows is one of the most passionate and phenomenal teachers and a natural-born educator on a court. And what we look at there, Adrian can give us the backbone in a second, but ultimately what we're looking at in the performance program is we're gauging players' competitive level. Okay, I mean, if you're a practice player and you're very good at that, that's a nice start. But what we're doing at Centercourt is we're gauging players on their level to compete. Okay, so where are they actually at? And the way that we divide the players is by UTR exclusively. So I just wanted to start out with that. And if I could throw over to you, Coach Adrian, what we really, if you could tell us a little bit about the program at the 3 levels, bubble 1, 2, and 3, and what it is we're looking at those various levels.
Thank you, Coach Conrad. Yeah, so as you mentioned, we once the players reach that performance level, we're looking at players that are meant to compete more, and some of them competing at different levels, right? Some of them, they're just starting. Some of them might be playing on a weekly basis, playing UTR matches there with, you know, as you mentioned, Ari organizes those at different stages of their development. We also encourage players to compete at the USTA level, which, you know, starting this year, the USTA changed their format where all tournaments, nationally USTA sanctioned tournaments, are divided from level 1 being the highest to level 7 being the initiation to competition. And so we range players somewhere from 8-9-year-olds all the way up to 17-year-olds right before they go to college. And as you mentioned, any given day, we run clinics Monday through Friday. The after school program runs, we do 1 hour of fitness from 4:30 to 5:30. And then from 5:30 to 7:30, we do the clinics, right, which are extremely popular. And we've been lucky enough to win the confidence of many of the highest level players in the area. Some of them even come from far to travel and benefit from the clinics that we run. We divide all players in 3 different bubbles. We have about anywhere somewhere between 40 plus players, 45, 48 players on any given day. We divide them by UTR. The lowest go on one bubble, the middle ones on another one, and the highest at the top bubble. Each bubble is run by a team leader, right? Each one of those team leaders is an expert at that specific stage of the player's development. And the system that we use to deliver the information slightly different, but generally speaking, we definitely want to prepare these kids to compete. Most players will be competing that same weekend, right? So they're all always competing. They're going to be playing tournaments that weekend, whether that is isolated UTR matches or USTA matches, as I mentioned before. Most tournaments will start on Friday, and they, depending on the results, they might continue Friday through Sunday, right? And so the clinics are meant to deliver a generalized program where throughout the season players need to learn a systematic way of understanding the game, right? So the way we understand the game, we try to teach it on a general basis. Every player, regardless of their UTR, whether they are beginning in competition or they're experts such as Michael Sen or Samir Banerjee, who recently won Wimbledon. And Michael Sen has been a top ranked, the number one player recently in America. We have players following the same system. They're all learning the same understanding of the game, but we adapt the exercises and the way we approach that skill depending on the player's individual skills, right? So for instance, the younger players are gonna be fed a little more. They're gonna be doing less live ball hitting. The ones in the middle, we're gonna try to find the right ratio between hitting and being fed, and the players that are more experienced, that are better hitters, are probably going to try to get the skills in a more realistic way, right? So the younger players will be helped to improve their coordination, like Coach Tim and you mentioned before. Their hand-eye coordination, their swing will be try to acquire that skill through more feeding, through more attention to detail in the technical aspects of hitting a tennis ball. And as they get better, as they get a little older or more experienced, their UTR changes towards the higher. They get to learn the patterns of the game, the tactical decisions that will improve their percentages of winning points through hitting sessions, right? And basically, yeah. So we run clinics from Monday through Friday. We're gonna have a weekly subject that's gonna change every 2 weeks. That weekly subject responds to a understanding of the generally explain. We teach players to start the point aggressively, right? We start a point with serve and return. So the many different ways using their skill, how they can end up on the advantage side when starting the point. And then how to create spaces on the court, how to open up the court, them being the ones controlling the middle and their opponents playing in the corners, right? Creating spaces on the court, using their weapon shots, producing, using, and closing short ball opportunities. So that will be the generalized system that we want all players to learn: how to start the point, how to create spaces on the court, how to take initiative, how to defend properly when being on defense, how to neutralize the opponent's attack when necessary, and how to produce an attacking situation. And like I said, depending on the skill level of the players, first bubble, second bubble, or top bubble, we deliver that information, in different ways, a little bit more easily, more towards the feeding when they're younger, more towards the hitting when they're more experienced.
Thank you, Adrian. That's really clear, and I couldn't agree more. We see Michael Jeng, who's been your very long-term student, playing the US Open next week, and he's come through all of these programs. I've seen him doing these, going back to basic feeding progressions on volleys. So the proof is in the pudding. We can definitely see that the results are coming. And the players, I want to comment that the players who we've seen the biggest improvements from are the ones that have remained consistent. They've stuck on the course. They've gone with the program. They are taking their private lessons inside Centercourt so that that communication is easy and clear between private coach, a program coach, and they've been taking additional physical work with Tim or in our programs. So I wanted to talk just quickly about some supplementary programs that we do have to the actual clinics and performance program. Things like the musculoskeletal program that Tim puts together, where you can have a checkup with Tim, where he'll run an assessment with you. He'll test you in all the key areas, give you a detailed report. And that's a really important thing for young players that have an aspiration, that can take their tennis somewhere. Tim has that opportunity to see them first off. And I wanted to just ask Tim very quickly, with these musculo programs, Tim, what is it that you usually find, or what is it that you're looking for? And how do you feel that having one of these assessments can really fast track a player's development?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're extremely important. Obviously, tennis players, and especially once we get towards that performance level of player, they're almost exclusively a tennis player. So we tend to see very, very common issues amongst tennis players. The first of which, starting to be in the upper body, is we see a rotation forward in their shoulders because they're overdeveloped in the front. We also see things like depressions in the dominant shoulder because of serving and overheads. We get a lot of activity in the lat there, so the shoulders down and rotated. Michael comes to mind because we've been talking about him a bunch, but like when he came to me last year, I mean, that was one of the things that we saw, and I actually shared some of the feedback with Conrad, and he was saying, yeah, this is what I'm seeing with him on court with his serve, and we were able to help be part of that correction, working with Coach Adrian, to get that position back to where he can perform at a super high level, which is obviously what he's done over the past year. Beyond that, for tennis players, one of the things we spend a ton of time on, and one of the things I test for extensively, is basically their ability to activate their deep core muscles. Tennis players, especially high-level tennis players, have the highest rate of lower back fracture outside of car accidents. And when I first started at Centercourt 10 or 11 years ago, we had 2 kids who actually fractured their back, and I was like taken aback. I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? So I reached out to a friend of mine who works with the U.S. Olympic team, who's a PT, and he relayed that information to me, and like kind of working with him, I put together a program to really focus, especially in like private training, to teach those kids to use those deep core muscles, which is really what protects them during rotation, overhead extension, and lateral bending, which is obviously, that's tennis, the entire game. You're either rotating or you're bending. And then moving down the body into the legs and the hips. What we tend to see is, obviously, tennis is a forward-looking sport. We're always kind of moving forward for the most part. So most kids tend to be very overactive in their quads, which is the muscles on the front of their legs. And most of them will lack a really good ability to isolate their hamstrings and their glutes. So they tend to lose out on a ton of power on court. Using Michael again as that example, when we first started working together, he was unable to do a single leg squat. By the time I had him prepped and ready for the high school season, he was doing basically an entire full pistol squat with complete glute engagement, complete hamstring engagement, and just really performing at a very, very high level, which obviously he went on for that season, and won the state championship for New Jersey. And while some of that goes to Adrian, I'm going to take most of it.
That's great. That's great. And exactly the information I'm looking for. And I guess my point is that a lot of parents who maybe didn't play tennis themselves, the importance of the movement, athleticism, coordination that you mentioned earlier between lower and upper, left and right, front and back, it all needs to be trained. And so that is absolutely great information. And anyone that's interested to do a musculoskeletal screening, I think, Tim, you have a different name for it. Please reach out to myself or Tim, and we'll certainly tee you up for that. I wanted to also talk a little bit about our play days. This is sort of talking more a little bit back to the JDP level. I'm not sure who it was, but someone had a brilliant idea to lay in these play days once a month for the different levels, red, orange levels. And so Coach Shihab, the objective of those is to engage competition at a young age, to make sure the kids understand the objective and the reason that they're training is to compete. The tennis is a game. And so if you go to many other smaller programs, you don't see that. You'll see kids hitting a lot of fed balls, having a lot of lessons, but they're not mentally connecting what they're doing with a tactical objective or how to, build a point. Could you tell us a little bit about that and the importance of those play days and those box league opportunities that we have on the weekends, Shihab?
It's one of our most success stories, and the mastermind was Coach Conrad. Credit goes to Coach Conrad, and I was part of it, Coach Conrad. So I'm going to take a little bit of credit with Coach Todd and Ari. That being said, this is what we want to give to our players. We're training hard. Parents invested, kids invested. We also want to give the kids, hey, how to play points, how to take a loss or win together, right? We want to make sure it's fun. So that's why the treats and reward comes in. Also, we want an early age, players to understand winning and losing, it's a lesson. You go out there, you play a point, whether it's you're doing a great forehand, great backhand, great serving, you take away as, hey, I played very well. You're emotionally actually have developing this player. Hey, it's a win, great job. It's a loss, I have to work hard. I'm going to train again and come back, play again. So it's not only it's growing, players actually engaging themselves, whether it's a win or loss, they're actually competing against their friends. Tennis, we train with a lot of players, and eventually when they get a little better competitive, they play against their friends. And on court, it's a simple game. Hey, keep the rally going. Early stage, we teach them how to construct the point, coming to the net. Red ball, it could be so much fun. And you see some of those red ball players compete in such a higher level, and parents actually get to see the players competing, all the investment time, coming in day out, privates, clinics. It pays off when the parents see it, and the players get to learn, hey, look, I am actually doing very well. I want to do it more. That sets the step for our next level. And these are the players. Winning is addictive. It doesn't matter what level or what. Once you get a taste of win, once you hold a little trophy or a medal for these red ball players, it's a game changer, right? Those players want to play more, come and compete. They forget about the loss in 2 days, but the win sticks with them forever. So it's really was a no-brainer for us, inviting those players, play once a month. It's a huge success for our club and our players. And that leads to our players, when they go to Orange Ball, USTA, they're competing heavily, which Centercourt is offering almost every other weekend, all our facilities. You should see, and the parents get to see the level of players out there, committed players and parents. It sets the tone for everybody.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more with that, Shihab. And I guess while I got you there, I wanted to just move a little bit to the yellow ball program, which obviously, we're talking about high performance, some superstar kids, but the reality is that the vast majority of kids are going to end up playing high school tennis. They're going to end up playing tennis for life. It's going to be a sport they carry with them. So we have obviously the yellow ball advantage program and the high school program. Could you tell us a little bit about those programs, just in a snapshot, and who do they cater for?
Cater for players who started late, right? We have players there. I'll give you an example from Green Ball Select, Green Ball Edge. We have players in our club. They are venturing other sports as well. So they could be a great player, but couldn't commit for 3-4 days and a competition. But they are good players, they're athletic enough, they can rally, serve, do the whole package. So we cater to them. We have 3 levels of yellow ball. We have yellow ball fundamentals. It's a late starter, 12, 13 years old, want to pick up a racket and learn tennis. We have it. It's a 1-hour class. Weekdays, we have it at a Florham Park facility. Weekends, we have it at Chatham. Then the next level is Advantage Select. It's a mid-range players, a little bit younger, 12, 13. They just aged out from green ball, not fully committed for performance, but again, they have the passion, they're athletic enough. They want to keep their game more for recreational purposes. Hey, I want to play 2 days and not worry about UTR match. But it's a family sport for a lot of families, right? We have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. They want to play together as a family. That's a 2-hour class as well. Then we have high school advantage class, which is under 2 UTR. They still play some UTR matches, but they don't make the commitment of 4-day. Hey, they may do one private, one clinic. They're still good enough players to compete in it. They will go to a tournament and, maybe make it first round. They can play, they can compete, and we have it for them. Florham Park has 3 days of them, and Chatham, we offer them Saturday and Sunday. A lot of those players, actually, their goal is to play high school. Ultimately, they want to make it to the high school team, whether they play singles or doubles. They're good enough players. They're nice athletes, and we have a program for them. It's not all about, not everybody's going to play performance. We understand. Not everybody's going to compete 4 days a week and train 4 days a week. We also cater to those players, a 2-day player, 3-day player, more of a recreational setting.
Yeah, that's great. It's very important that we remember those players, and because we love those kids. They're often, like you said, playing multiple sports. They're seasonal tennis players. They've developed very good overall athletic skills, and they want to be team players. So they like playing doubles. They want to get in the school team. They're not sure if they're going to make singles or doubles. And some of the programs go up to 4.0 UTR. So if you can't commit to, like you said, Shihab, 2-3 days a week plus competing, we fully understand that, and we have those opportunities for you. The last couple of things from me, I just wanted to really talk about, at Centercourt, what are we looking for in the people that we're building? At the end of the day, you're a person and a human first and an athlete second. So what we're looking for is kids that have great discipline. They're able to listen to instruction. They're motivated. They're looking to find ways to get better at all times. That word aspiration is something that's just so important. They have an aspiration. They like tennis. They like to watch tennis. They like to be out there, and they're really enjoying what they're doing. Commitment is just one of those things that you need to have if you're going to be a tennis player. Anyone can tell you that. You need to spend the time at it, and it's not a race. I'll repeat that. It's not a race. Everyone develops at their own times based on their physical growth, their coordination, the volume of tennis, the stage of growth. Some kids grow early, some kids grow late. Look at the story with Yannick Sinner from Italy. He really didn't pick up a racket till he was 16 years old. Prior to that, he was a skier. He was a world-class junior skier. So that tells you, there are those stories. And so we really want to make sure players have that commitment to chase a goal and stick at it. We're looking at players that have a work rate, right? We're really looking at kids who they hustle when they're picking up the balls. They're the first ones in, they're the last ones out. They're always helping to clean up the court, pack up the court, sweep the courts. All of those things our coaches recognize and reward. We look for well-rounded, holistic individuals within the program. Obviously, self-practice is something that I talked about. Getting out there, hitting balls with their mum, their dad, their friends, their mates that they make at the program. All of those things are critical. Playing practice sets, playing some doubles, all of those things will enhance their development and fast-track their growth as a tennis player. Finally, and most importantly, and I know everyone's going to agree with me, it is being coachable. Okay, we're looking for kids that are interested in learning, interested in changing. And we often are confronting either the kids that are not or their parents and saying, hey, mum and dad, we need you on the table. We need you to help us here. And so that kind of highlights my final point. We really want to include the parents in this journey. So whether it's going to be the coach, the player, it's really coach, player, academy, and parents. All right. Parents are a huge part of this. We value the input from parents. We want you guys to be part of this. You guys are the ones that are going to most likely go to tournaments with the players. We need that feedback. So we're fully open to all of that. A couple of special details in all of our programs are we use a lot of video-based technology. We're fortunate today that all coaches have a quality phone in their pocket, which usually has a great camera. And so we use certain software to do video analysis. You just take a walk by the courts, and I think almost every day you'll see us doing something that's video based for the players. We use very specific footwork method where we're really trying to teach players certain core moves or contact moves, as they're called. And that's an essential part of being a great tennis player, is your ability to get your body into certain positions for contact. The final thing I wanted to talk about was what we call our mental toughness program. We are actually the first academy in the world to have a mental toughness program that is specifically catered to our academy. It is run by Dr. Anthony Ross, who is the world leader in sports psychology for tennis. He's a former Wimbledon player, and he's a consultant that works with our players, as well as the program that we have for the programs. That is an additional program to the clinics and after schools. And if anyone needs any more information on that, please reach out to me. Keep your eyes peeled on it. The other quick little ones I wanted to mention were our camps. We often have camps. If it's a national holiday of some sort, there will be a camp going on, whether it's JDP or whether it's performance-based. For those players that are more above a 5.0 UTR and strong players, we have what's called the full-time academy, where we offer part-time academy. You can drop in, do a session if your level is there. You'll need approval for that from either Coach Adrian, myself, to be able to join those programs. Finally, if you are, again, a high-level player, please keep your eyes out for weekend drop-ins. We're going to have some performance weekend drop-in programs. And again, you'll need approval to be able to go to those. Before we sort of rounded it up, I wanted to pass it over to Ari Zuckerman, our Vice President, and ask him if he could just elaborate a little bit on the different competitions that we have and how that all sort of overlaps the program and kind of gives the players a holistic experience.
Thanks, Coach Conrad. Yeah, I'll give everybody a brief overview. For example, I'll give you an example. This weekend, we're hosting a national level 4, a USA level 4, which is kids from all over the country are coming to compete in singles and doubles. That's a girls 14s. So that's kind of the highest level that we've offered. We also have an ITA tournament in 2 weeks. ITA is a college organization. So we're running college tournament in 2 weeks as well. Those are the top tier tournaments. For USTA, level 7 is an introductory tournament. Level 6 is a little higher than level 7. Level 5 is a little higher than that. Those are, more high school varsity and JV level players. And then, it goes obviously higher from there from the USTA, for USTA tournaments. We also have the UTR matches, which are single matches that we run every weekend. Those are for kids that can't commit to the tournament. So there's plenty of those, obviously, that do other sports, that have school activities. They can just come and play a match Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, an hour and a half, best of 3 sets, and be on their way with any of their other activities. Getting younger, we actually offer the UTR to orange ball, green ball, and yellow ball players. Orange ball and green ball are on Fridays. We run them generally, after school, after our programs are done. So kids can come out. We have some pizza for them. That's more of a social event where they can come and, again, hang out, play a match, eat some pizza, stay and watch their friends play, that sort of thing. And then, as Conrad and Chia mentioned, our play days, which are competitive, social, and fun. We have ice cream trucks. We'll have, again, pizza parties for those sort of events that we run every couple of weeks. All of that information is on our website. It's on the UTR site, the USTA site. It's a lot to search. So if you do get confused, you can always reach out to me and say, what should my son do? He's 12. He's been playing for 3 years, takes a couple lessons. What do you recommend? We're always happy to help advise those sort of players. Even if they've never played before and they want to get into it, we can advise programs and matches for yourself. So it's really for all levels. And again, we have, so we have kids this weekend that are, top 50 in the country that are competing at our outdoor Chatham courts. Anybody is also welcome to come watch. We do have high level competition. So if you're at the club, if you're a member, come on out and see some high level tennis. It's a ton of fun. That's the overview.
Great. Thank you, Ari. I'll just go to questions now. If anyone's got a question, please pop it in and or let us know that you'd like to ask a question. This one's for Coach Adrian. the question is, how do you structure a program for a player who has a dream to go pro? It's quite a broad question, but if you can give us a little snapshot of your ideas based on your experience as a former Davis Cup coach, elite player yourself, a 13 plus UTR, and the current coach to many of the top juniors in the country.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. Well, becoming a pro is it's the ending result of doing a lot of things, but that have to start for most players. You mentioned Sinner earlier, right? Who only picked up a racket at 16, but for the regular player, it's a long process that has to start early in their tennis careers, and they have to go through the pathway of learning how to hit the ball, how to move, how to make decisions on the court to improve their advantage against opponents, and control their emotions when competing, right? So you mentioned different times the necessity of private lessons that we use at Centercourt, private lessons mostly to help players understand how to swing the ball better. For me, and again, different coaches can have different opinions on this. For me, what I teach, what I share with the coaches that work with me is the difference between a player of level A and the level above is their ability to attack the opponent of a higher level, right? Of a better level. And for that, you need to be, you need a shot that will be able to hurt that player. If you have a similar shot than the other player, then that match or that level will be control, will be won by whoever moves better and makes better decisions, right? So the pathway should lead the player to hit the ball better, to move better, because only if you move better, you'll have the opportunity to hit the ball at the highest possible level. And if you have that, then you got to be able to make quicker, better, faster decisions, right? More accurate decisions. And that will allow you to be competitive. And then it's all about competing. So at Centercourt, what we do, the program that we structure is teach players how to hit in different programs. So all of them have been mentioned before. For instance, we use private lessons for mostly technical instruction. We use clinics where you are constantly being mixed up with different players of different levels all around you for tactical purposes, right? To understand the necessities of the game. All our programs have fitness, right? And we also have more specific fitness and more specific technical and tactical instructions at the full-time program, right? So the players, once they get to a specific level that are, comparable to some of the top players in the nation in your age group, could be 12 and unders, 14s, 16s, or 18s. We highly encourage players for them to take it to the next level to go and do the full-time program. A lot of the kids that will eventually try out in the top universities in the country, which most top Division I players, or eventually directly jump into professional tennis. This is throughout the world. By the time they're 13, 14, 15, they belong to full-time programs where all of the above will be done just on a more specific scale, where there's going to be perhaps less players on the court and more court time, right? So they're going to get their technique, they're going to get their movement, they're going to get their decision-making and emotional control through mental toughness training in a smaller environment where they're able also to travel, to have time to travel to more demanding national level competitions, and in some cases international level competitions. The other part of the answer is once they get to that level, we encourage, as you know, we have a number of our some national but some international students in our full-time program. they're now playing the ITF Tour, the Junior International Tennis Federation Tour, which is very similar to the professional tour, but for juniors, right? For 18 and under players. So once they get to that 15, 16 years old, and they're competitive enough and they have enough success at the national level, we highly encourage for them to try their luck, for them to try their skills and match them against similar opponents from all over the world, right? And once you do that and you receive the benefits from competing with some of the top competitors throughout the world, you have a better perspective whether professional tennis is an option for you, or perhaps Division 1, 2, or 3 college tennis might be, right? But you definitely have to acquire the skills, compete locally, compete nationally, compete internationally, taste success at the different stages, continue developing your game, continue developing your fitness. And then once you're in that 17-year-old, 18-year-old range, decide. One of the kids that have been part of our program, Samir Banerjee, who recently won Wimbledon this year, earlier this year, he took that path a couple years back before COVID. He played some national level tournaments. He all through his junior years, he was successful enough at the national level. Eventually, he tried the international tour, the ITF tour, and he started playing tournaments throughout the world. He went to South America, he went to Mexico several times, he went to Europe, different places. Eventually, he won enough points and had good enough results for him to be one of the top 64 players in the world. And he became a main draw player at junior Grand Slams, right? So now he's officially competing with the absolute highest level, right? And it just so happens that this year he ended up actually winning Junior Wimbledon. So once he has this taste of, look, I might be good enough to compete at the absolute highest level, at least junior wise, it seems like I am. That presents to him with a new perspective of how good his level is, and if perhaps he should try to complete that, to play at that professional level.
Fantastic, Coach. Really insightful, and I couldn't back that up more. Look, there's obviously a million questions we could ask. I think at this point we'll look to cut it off. And anyone that needs more information, please reach out to Ari at centercourtclub.com or myself, Conrad at centercourtclub.com. If it's a JDP related question, send it to both of myself and Ari, and copy in Coach Shihab at centercourtclub.com. So guys, thank you very much. Coach Adrian, I know you're on a break right now, so thank you for making the time to be with us. I hope everyone enjoys the US Open. And if you're out there, let's get out on the 6th and support Michael Jang in his plight to do something special. I believe Samir is also playing, so that's going to be exciting few days. Thanks a lot, guys. If there's any questions, we'll just hold on here for a minute. If not, we'll catch up with everyone soon.
Thank you, Coach Conrad.
Okay, looks like we're all good. Thanks a lot, Ari. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tim, Adrian, and Shihab.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Bye.